Okay. Now we just got like some talking points, so
Okay.
all
Feel
right.
free to anything. Y'all know y'all can ask any personal question as possible.
All right, so welcome to another episode of Conversations One on One, y'all. We got our format changed up a little bit, so y'all will start seeing us go live a lot more. And today we've got our guest with us, Mr. Ron Collins, and we're gonna see what's going on with him. And then after that, we're gonna have a conversation about some important topics. So, what's going on, Ron? Glad to have you with us tonight.
Man, how y'all doing? How y'all doing? I'm doing good
Hey,
tonight.
just
Good.
trying to keep it together in this here country, man.
That's all we can do.
Yeah, that's all we can do. So, what you been up to lately?
Honestly, just a lot of going through my structure right now. I'm planning to move to Thailand soon, so one of my main goals have been, of course, get my business to a place where it can kind of be more automated and have more of a consistent lead flow is really my main focus. So that's really it. Besides that, I got a baby on the way.
Oh, congratulations!
Congratulations.
Definitely,
Yeah,
congratulations.
I appreciate y'all. But yeah, that's really been about it. Honestly, I mean, business has been great.
Hmm.
Just really focusing on the structure behind it and just doing what we can do. Like I said, being consistent.
Definitely,
Okay.
definitely.
I
Okay.
see where you're fixing credit now. How does that work for
Yeah.
everybody that wants to know and get their credit fixed?
Yeah. Honestly, I mean, I've been fixing credit for almost 10 years. I already had a credit repair business. I don't
Hmm.
even really like offer the services much no more unless
Mm-hmm.
I kind of just want to throw it in there for maybe I'm doing somebody else's, so I'll just throw together more of them to kind of do in a bundle. But for the most part, I really don't focus on offering those services at all. But if people do need those services, they can definitely come see me. Right now, I focus more on helping people build better online businesses.
Got
That's
Okay.
you.
kind of my main focus. Yeah.
I seen the
So
post on Facebook. That's why I brought it up because I
yeah,
follow you on my platforms and I seen
yeah,
you was doing credit repair. That's why I asked you
yeah.
about it.
Yeah, I post a little bit of everything on social media. It feels like on every social media platform. That's kind of what I'm going through structure into, trying to get my platforms to be whether more niche specific or more intentional versus kind of just making every single platform a catch all. So
Okay.
yeah, but you'll see it'll be more promoting about helping people build these online businesses, especially with the age we're going into. Before
Hmm.
2027, man, if people don't build an online business before 2027, there's some shit going down with AI that's gonna make it so much harder to
Oh
build them.
yeah, definitely.
So yeah,
Hey, one thing about this AI is not going anywhere, and it
Oh
seems
no.
like it's
yeah.
expanding everywhere.
Nah,
So,
yeah. Because what it's gonna do is like right now they're going through a testing phase. All they're gonna do is they're gonna give all the kind of lower end AIs and shit to the public, and then they're gonna make the more intelligent, more valuable ones, of course, premium prices and shit like that. So I
Mm-hmm.
told
hmm,
people when AI first came out, like get on it, because I know that's a game plan down the road. As soon
definitely.
as it gets to that point, all the ones that are pointless are gonna get kind of pushed to the side.
Hmm.
And if you're not investing in them to actually get the output, you're not gonna get it. Which we already see that. Damn near every AI site that come out now is like fucking $50 to $100. I've seen some even $400, $500. So
Wow, yeah,
you know,
expensive.
turn off this dryer. We can keep talking,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
there's no background.
Well, I seen a post here recently saying that AI definitely levels the playing field when it comes to people that have their own businesses because everybody should know how to work AI. Like it evens
Yeah,
everything out, so it's no
it
reason
does.
why everybody can't, you know, exceed.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, honestly, like that's what we talk about, like generational wealth transfers as they happen. They really happen with economic shifts, and
Hmm.
AI was one of those economic shifts. Like you had people that were already millionaires, billionaires at that level. You had people that weren't, and whenever AI came out and it made it so much more easier to actually get things done, the
Hmm.
people that were at the top that were older and things like that that didn't really make it through this shift because they're not tech savvy and shit like that. They
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
gained the wealth in the past. They lost most of that shit because they didn't know how to use AI. And the people that were learning how to use it, like us coming up through this, we're the ones really capturing all that wealth that's being lost to these people that's not using it. So if you're
Definitely.
not using AI, like you really, it's almost like the internet coming into play and then you're not using
Hmm.
the internet. Like, why would you do that? So the people
Exactly.
usually wait till it's too late. You got the people that hop on it just in time. You got the people that hop on it from goddamn when it first came out. So
Yeah. Oh yeah. Got to come early to the party when it comes to this tech
yeah,
because I tell people all the time, you have to know what it's capable of doing so it can't
yeah,
be
for
used
real.
against you.
No, for real, yeah. And it's not hard to use. I tell people that like it's not like learning how to use the internet
Mm-mm.
because the internet was completely different. AI is just like the internet upgraded. Now instead of knowing how to use it, you just got to know how to tell it what you want. That's it.
Definitely, definitely, and
Literally. So if you know how to tell people and tell things what you want, then you'll be perfect using AI.
exactly, and AI can actually help make the internet experience easier.
Oh
So
yeah, way easier. I mean,
yeah.
honestly, it's really already all AI. You go to Google, you type in shit on Google, it's giving you AI responses. You go to Facebook, it's AI responses. I mean, everything to turn into AI responses. So
Definitely.
it's everywhere.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So we're gonna get into. We want to have a conversation about what Trump said on the third. Now, I hope you'll be able to hear this video, but
Yeah, let me hear.
I'm gonna
we,
skip.
we're gonna get into it. Let's play from the boy Trump and see what he.
Trump always saying some shit that sound like he on our side.
Let's
Right?
let's see what he has to say. Let's see.
Is the most
Can you
successful,
hear this?
most accomplished,
I'm listening
most
now.
exceptional nation ever to exist in human history. And it is great to be your president.
And this responds to what he calls the unfair criticism of the U.S.
As for those who peddle Marxist lies about our heritage, who tell our children that we live on stolen land or that our heroes were oppressors, they're doing something much worse than slandering our past. They are slandering and attacking our future.
Okay. So did you hear what Trump said?
So I heard him. So did and I kind of heard it too. Where like, did he say it saying that the people that said it's built on stolen land are
Yes.
doing worse?
Yes.
Oh, okay, yeah, he's a nuthead.
Yes.
Like,
Exactly.
100%.
So now he's framing that America was built on he Trump framed teaching that America was built on stolen land or that its heroes were oppressors as Marxist lies, not just wrong, but a deliberate attack on the country's future.
100%. Like Trump knows. Like you could prove that it was formed on stolen land so easy. If you go look up the Doctrine of Discovery, the Doctrine of Discovery tell you that it was stolen. Literally, they don't look at it as stolen though. They look at it as, well, our Catholic Church gave us the right to come take this, so it wasn't really necessarily stolen in our perspective. But to the people of this land, it was 100% stolen.
Definitely.
100%.
Well, and to the people who the land was taken from, it was
Yeah, that's what I'm
definitely
saying. Yeah,
stolen.
literally, yeah.
And for him
You
to
don't. I mean, we should be able to do a blood test, and by the end of next year, everybody who ain't fucking from here pick it up out here. Literally.
Exactly.
And Trump would be on that list.
and a lot of other people that
Yeah,
claim that
they're all our presidents.
yeah. So and then he drew a hard binary like so you're either loyal to Karl Marx or loyal to America. You're either a communist or a patriot, no middle ground. You know,
No, for sure. That's deliberate.
Yes. He's sowing seeds of division.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
he's trying to really change the history of America. I mean,
Yeah, he is. Yeah, that's what they're trying to do. That's why
Yes.
they're making everything digital. They're trying to rewrite the history for real.
so it's like, how can you? My thing is, if it happened, it happened. Now, what are you going to do to change the ideas or the way that people feel about it? Are you going to try to do better by the people in the country, or are you going to continue to oppress certain people and have
They
people
gonna
still?
continue to do it. Because honestly, I'm not even one of the type to think that it's just black people no more. Like, it's now. I mean, we know it's a capitalist society. It's more about people that don't
Yes.
promote capitalism and people that do promote capitalism. If you help us make more money, you are on our side. If you don't, then get the fuck away. So, but that, I mean, regardless of even if he tries to change the history, you would have to wipe out a whole nother human race, and we all know it. There's more people that know the real history now than there ever was damn near in history, unless they was during those actual times of when it was being taken. But they had physically killed off everybody, and internet was one of those things that was actually written about hundreds of years ago that was already letting it be known. Once internet came out, same thing Elon said. Things have two ways they're always going to go. It's going to have a dramatic benefit and negative for both sides. So for the government, of course, one of those negatives was like, yeah, you can bring in the internet, and that's going to make you a lot more money. and you can distract people from utilizing it for valuable information. But the people that don't, you got a really big risk you're taking with all this information getting out there. And I feel like they thought that it would be a lot easier to kind of sway people away from the information. But now that we got it, it's over with. Like, all they can do is kind of make us stop talking about it. But honestly, I agree. Like, it should be time to stop talking about it. At this point, we all know. Now it's more about, like, what are you doing from this moment on? Like, I don't support anything about any of that. I tell them the best thing they could ever do as a president, if they really love their country, would be give us our country back. So,
hey, exactly.
You can maybe live in this bitch. You can probably still live here. But you ain't running our country. This is our country. So as long as it's controlled by an opposition, somebody that's not even from our country, then yeah, like, they're not doing what they could be doing.
But the thing is, I'm sorry to cut you off. His family is not even from this country. Trump is German. You know what I'm saying? And people are not giving this pushback because he's not disputing specific facts. And he's not disputing specific facts. He's recasting the presentation of well-documented history. You know what I'm saying? So nobody is giving it any pushback.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like where our people kind of lack with knowing how to push back is, like, they don't know whether or not, like, they really don't know that, like, the best way to push back is by self-development. Like, a lot of people feel like to push back, it's like, but what do I do? Who do I tell on the president to? And who do I file this case against? And all, like, nobody. That's all part of the system. The best thing you can do is use the internet and AI, make everything that you're currently dependent on from the U.S. non-dependent no more, and then either leave or stay here, and you still kind of got some type of control because they got all your tax shit and all that. But you can for sure, like, the greatest thing ever is we can leave America.
That's what I've been talking about doing. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
and
you see everybody's doing it. Everybody's moving to Thailand, which, of course, everywhere you run gonna have its downs and its all that. But honestly, I mean, if you have the means to just be able to move around, that's the best. Like, I wouldn't even tell you to move and go just stay in one other country. Like, just having the ability to structure yourself and your business and your income and finances to be able to move around freely should be, like, honestly everybody's number one goal right now. Because it's going to get to the point where they're going to be like, okay, y'all can't even work if you don't have this, or you can't do this if you don't do that. And the people that have built these online businesses and podcasts and income stream channels, they going to have that free reign. It's just going to be like, okay, I don't give a fuck. I'm going over to Africa or Thailand or here or there.
But you remember they did that with COVID, with the vaccine, saying that if you didn't get the vaccine, in some instances, you couldn't even go to work. You know, we don't know what this vaccine is. I knew nurses that was telling me they was not going to take the vaccine because it normally takes about 10 years to develop a vaccine. And they came up with that in, what, a year or less?
I was gonna say, they were working on that vaccine back in the late 1900s. So all the vaccine does is what it does is they inject it in you. There's a specific protein attaching chemical that goes to your protein genes and gives it certain information about basically the virus. So they say you don't get the virus, but it gives you information about the virus, and that allows your protein gene to structure your body and immune system to defend it. Granted, you get the virus.
Yeah.
But when I was younger, I was like 8 years old. One of the biggest things I remember hearing a doctor say, I was at a doctor about to get a vaccine, and I heard a little kid younger than me ask the doctor, like, what's the vaccine for? Like, how is this helping? The doctor literally told him, basically, we're giving you the flu before you get the flu, so your body can build the defense against the flu. Like, they said they give you a little tiny amount of it. That's the dumbest sales pitch I've ever heard. As soon as I heard that, I ain't got a shot since. I remember leaving that day with my mom. I'm like, Mom, I'm not taking that shot. He literally just said they're going to give me the flu here.
Yeah, but and then on another note, people don't realize that racism was created as a device to keep us distracted and fighting against each other by the elites. If we focused on race, then we're not worried about how they're manipulating us to stay rich.
Yeah.
You know?
And honestly, like, there's a lot of different aspects they take with that. Like, anything they select at all that is something that is more subjective to your reality to try to cause conflict on. It's just another like, now we throw this to distract, because like racism's like, there's still racist people, but like they don't even really push racism at the mass scale no more. Now it's more so capitalism, like, oh, this person's broken, this person ain't, this person has a better social status than this person. So it's always a constant divide. And that's the same way when it comes to making movies in Hollywood. Like for a good movie, you gotta have a common enemy, you gotta have a protagonist, an antagonist. That's why we have two sides of things, and they tell you can't choose a middle. But the secret is you can choose a middle. The middle is yourself.
Exactly.
Racism, I'm sorry. No, racism is built in our organizations, such as our hospitals, places that we go shopping at. I mean, so it's different levels of racism, even in the justice system. So they don't push it as hard as they used to, because it's built in now in the grain. Yes.
Yeah. That's why I say like they don't push it no more, but like they didn't, like, we're really going past the last generation of people that are like, even like, you gotta think most of the white women now come to black men. So it's gonna be, I mean, I know what they're scared of. Like, you gotta imagine at some point there will be no more white people. There will be, like, we will move back to just brown skin, mixed black people, because I mean, the more so I get why they would cause a race divide between those two, like, because that's what I've always heard, like, was more so I've heard people say, I'm not racist, but I don't believe in mixing races. I wouldn't take that as racist. I would take that as a blow-on thing.
It's funny you say that, because I am working on a presentation, a video about what we're dealing with. We're dealing with a whole racist ability of trying to survive on this planet.
Yeah,
that's what all these systems have been put in place for. That's why there's racism. That's why there's everything that's against everybody else, because they're trying to ensure their survival on this planet. And I break it down scientifically.
Don't give too much away. Don't give too much away.
But that's an inevitable thing. Like, if you go back and read a lot of like these scientific biological letters that people have written over the last hundreds of years, like, they talk about that a lot. They know that is something that is going to happen. It's a matter of how long. Like,
exactly.
The race gonna get wiped out through having babies with black people, or the sun gonna wipe them out. So, and that's a biological part of nature thing, which that's just a bodily thing. So it's not, people be like, but so I'll just be gone forever. We still got to remember, like, you're not your body. You are your soul, your conscience.
Exactly.
But that experience will happen for sure.
Yeah.
100%.
Now back to this whole Trump debacle. I want to speak about the slavery part of it. Enslaved labor was the foundation to the colonial and early U.S. economy, and several founders, including Jefferson and Washington, which also had enslaved people, while writing about liberty. This tension is well established, not a partisan invention. So it's not Democrat or Republican. This is something that was happening, that was going on. That's why I say it's two different parties, but they're both the same beast. It's just
the same party.
Yes. It's the same party.
Same thing with, that's how everything in life damn near work. Like, it's always two sides of the same coin. Always.
That sounds like the law of polarity from the Hermetic principles.
Exactly what it is.
Yeah,
polarity.
Exactly. And so by him saying that, it was slander to the founding forefathers, or the establishment of this country. You know, we have receipts. You know, treaties like Fort Laramie, 1851 and 1868 were negotiated with Native nations and then broken by the U.S. government. I was
gonna say, like, literally. So I read 48 Laws of Power, and they talked about this in here. Like, one of the greatest arts of war or tactics of war that some of these countries will take, like Germany and Rome and all that, they will morally act like they're gonna have a good treaty with you, and they would put people in that they know are good people and break it.
Yeah, definitely.
That's a war tactic.
Definitely. And you also have the Trail of Tears in the 1830s, which forcibly removed tens of thousands of Cherokee, Muskogee, Seminole, Chickasaw, and Choctaw people. This is documented in federal archives and taught in mainstream U.S. history curricula. So how is this slander if it's facts? You see?
Yeah, because they know that nobody knows facts anymore. No, so even if we, the few, know what the facts are, on that main stage, he knows, like, I can say something like that, and it's going to be 1,000,000 to 1. Like, the one bit of people that are going to know that I'm speaking gibberish versus the type of influence I'm going to cause is just going to be nuts. Because you got to think, even on that scale, presidency runs off influence. Like, they were the first social media influencers. Like,
Oh,
so
yeah.
that's the whole goal for them, is to just get people's attention. So if they can say slick shit and crazy shit and shit like that, to get hella clips and hella responses and hella reactions, that's what they do. That's why that's the only part of my algorithm. I usually don't know about it. I love talking about it though when it get brought up. But just to see for a fact, like, I used to never think my algorithm could be like that.
Yeah.
But knowing that you can get your algorithm to a point of where you don't even see the president pop into your shit, is like, that's what they don't want. Because if they get it like that, they get up on them stages and say shit and it would hold no weight. And if it don't hold no weight, that's really all a president has, is the backing of the people, is the influence. Without that influence,
But it's causing a cultural division, you know, within the people of this country. And you can go here and you can post the most brilliant thing that makes sense, but to some people that support Trump, I mean, it's like you're talking gibberish when you're speaking facts.
Facts with beliefs.
Yes.
Exactly. And
I just don't fight my facts with beliefs. Like, I could care less what people believe anymore. Like, if you want to believe certain things, believe them. The facts are this. I'll tell you the facts. But after that, it's not my job to make you take the facts on me. It's your job to accept those facts, or you fucking up your life.
Exactly. And so I'm really big on words. I study words as far as the etymology of it. And back to what you were saying as far as influence, the very role of the government is to control the way that people think. You have govern, which means control, and ment is mentality. That's where these words come from. So just look at what's happening. Like you said, the president has to influence people. They have to control other platforms that influence people, because like you said, the people are the ones who give the president power. If everybody said right now, we don't care what nobody in Congress says, we don't care what the president says, we're gonna do our own thing, what could they do about it? You got
they couldn't do anything.
Exactly. So you have to have people's minds, because you can enslave a person mentally without having to do it physically anymore.
Exactly, and that's what we done moved into. I feel
Facts.
like social media did a big jump with that. Before social media, it had to be more of a physical thing, but now it is more of a mental thing. I mean, even when it comes to the money, like, they didn't gave us fake pieces of paper and told you, like, hey, you make $3,000 a month, but your bills are $2,800 a month. That's still slavery. Like,
Facts.
back in physical slavery, I would work the whole day for free and live somewhere for free. Now I work somewhere all month, and then I take all the money I make and pay for it. Like, that's almost even worse. Like, that's like physical and mental slavery at the same time.
Exactly. And keeping you stressed out and so distracted to where you can't pay attention to the other bullshit that's going on. You know,
they want to keep you focused on the external world, external reality, because that's really the biggest gateway out of here. Like, I tell people, like, people are like, what should I study? What should I do this? What should I do this? Anytime you feel like that, instantly study the mind. Because when you start to focus on things happening to you internally, it'll make your correlation with how you deal with things externally way easier. Like, if you don't know how to deal with things externally, it's because you don't know how to deal with things internally.
And in reality, see, I like to look at the big picture. In reality, there's enough everything on this planet for every man, woman, and child on this planet. It's more than enough. So why do we have a system in place just to keep control and keep certain people with more than enough, and some people with barely enough? You know what I'm saying? It doesn't. It doesn't have to be this way, but you got a very small group of people that make it this way.
That's when capitalism comes into effect, because you're gonna have those people that doesn't have that much. They're gonna have to get out and work so they can keep trying to obtain the things that they don't have.
But then you have,
especially whenever they're paying you, like, say for example, I used to work at Caterpillar. In 1 month, I would probably build 4 trucks. They might have made over $100 million on those 4 trucks and paid me $3,000. So, like, realistically, like you getting so much out of me. Like the biggest thing. Now that I'm an entrepreneur and I've delegated shit, one of the biggest scams I've ever found is like the fact that you would pay me 2 weeks after I start, sometimes 3.
Oh,
If we got
that's
hired at
horrible. I hate
jobs-
that. Yeah.
If we got hired at jobs and they paid us first, then we worked 2 weeks, it would almost, that one decision would damn near flip half of the financial issues that people have.
Yeah.
It's just that
Oh, yeah.
original 2 weeks of wasted time that usually put them behind, that put them in that never-ending spiral of like, now I got to keep putting this on all this debt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and see, and that is slavery. You know, in Texas, after the official abolition of slavery, there was a general. I believe his last name was Granger, but he had to go down to Texas, and the people were still on the plantation, and they didn't know that slavery was over. So he had to let them know that the relationship is no longer slave master and slave, but now it is employer and hired laborer.
Yeah, literally.
Employer, employee.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
That's the only difference.
They-
It's always the naming.
exactly. So they told you the game changed right there.
Yeah.
They just, hey, now you got to work for money to get it, and we're gonna give you very little, just like we gave you very little on the plantation to survive.
You
And
work for no money and we give you very little, or you work for money and we give you very little.
And
Either-
we're gonna call this day Juneteenth, so you can go out here and still buy stuff at the store to celebrate, which is still capitalism.
Oh, yeah.
They're robbing people like with the holidays and all. Like even my family don't celebrate no holidays. No holidays is mainstream. We will make our own holidays. Literally, like we celebrate our own shit. We don't celebrate none of the holidays.
And you know, that's important because my biggest thing of the people in this country, they lack the ability to think for themselves. They let somebody else think for them. Oh, on this day, Valentine's Day, this is when you show your loved one that you love them. Or you do this day. Or Thanksgiving, that's when the family comes together and has dinner. And you have a lot of people who families only get together on those holidays. You know, and I'm like, why can't we just get together because it's Monday and we're family and we love each other?
Literally, yeah. But I mean, that's what it is. Like you said, usually it's whenever, like, if I come in here and I give you a structure, you're more willing to not change it and just follow my structure versus like tear my structure down and rebuild it or come up with your own structure. But that's really all it is. Like they come in, they're like, these are the laws, and people are like, well, I didn't make no laws, so if that's the laws, let's follow those. And they got the ability to, of course, go in and attempt to change the laws and things like that, but they know what they do. On the mental side, like, if people would just learn about their mind, everything in their life, everything in the world would flip upside down overnight. Like, really, it's always been a war on the mind. That's why even during physical slavery, even during physical slavery, they couldn't fuck with us. That's why they signed the Declaration of Independence. It was literally because we had a military, I don't know if you know about it, we had a military down here in Florida back in the late 1600s until the late 1700s called the Gola tribe. And it was literally self-made military of black slaves that would meet in Florida, and then they would go out to other plantations after getting word from the other slaves where they were being at, go slaughter everybody in those that was not a slave, take all the slaves back to the military. So literally, and what they were doing was, if you could research the whole topic on them, they was headed to the White House. They was coming for the president, scared the shit out the president. So of course they go, oh no, we're gonna free the slaves at this point, which they didn't. They still had over 500,000 motherfucking slaves. Even after they signed something like the Declaration of Independence. So and physically they couldn't fuck with us. That's why they had to focus more.
But see, that's the thing. And I'm gonna say a lot of the things that we go through as a people is our own fault, and I'll tell you why I say this. Because you always have a choice. You had people who had a choice to leave the plantation or fight or rebel who chose not to. And that's fine because everybody's not meant to be a leader. Okay, cool. But if somebody's coming at you with force, do you think that it makes sense to come at them with peace?
No, for sure, yeah, literally. And a lot of people kind of think like that. They think that, oh, well, since the choice is either I stay here or I fight and potentially die, I have no choice. It's never the case, literally.
No, you can die.
You got a choice.
You do have a choice. Yeah.
And that's what the system even built on. Like when they talk about consent, people will be like, well, I didn't really consent. No, you technically did with all the little micro consensual things that you done did. But no, that's definitely when people get control of their mind, which I think we're going through that phase. I don't think we'll have.
I can say that too. Yeah.
I know for a fact we're not going to have a physical government much longer. Their goal is to automate the government. Their goal is to automate all the processes. Their goal is to replace, we know, human police with robot police. That's 100%.
RoboCop.
If they don't, they're stupid. So if I was in that position and I was trying to do the shit they're trying to do, that's the smartest idea. So that's the first one. And second one, they're just going to automate all the core processes and everything like that. And that's one of the positions we don't want to be in, because with humans, at least humans have compassion. If we allow them to automate the government on our land, it's damn near over with. Like, what you gonna do? Get on social media and bash the fucking robot 199? The robot's not gonna care. A robot gonna tap into its computer chip, go to your Facebook, wipe that shit off, and then come for you. Like, and it's not gonna be a moral-based thing. So people better get it together quick.
It's crazy because it's like they make movies about what could potentially happen and then work toward making the shit that's gonna cause what can potentially happen.
Well, they be telling you what's gonna happen, and you give it consent by not fighting back on it, by not speaking up about it. So they letting you know what's gonna happen, and you give consent by entertaining it and watching it and letting them go through with it.
Yeah, because that's what they do. Like, they go watch horror movies. Like, say, I used to watch 1,000 Ways to Die when I was a kid.
I did too.
They give you shit like that, and then they'll go see on social media all the good responses to things, and even the 2012 thing, the world's gonna explode. They see all these positive reviews, and now it's like, okay, we can go ahead and do this. They're really just using feedback of the people with everything they do, with the movies and everything. That's always feedback on what their goal, what their strategy should be to basically influence the masses to whichever direction they want. It's really to distract and profit. Like, them the two main goals.
Facts.
Distract and profit.
Capitalism and division.
Yes.
But let me
100%.
ask you a question. Is naming a country's flaws unpatriotic, or is defending your country by hiding its flaws actually the more fragile position?
Definitely trying to defend your country. You said so. Defend your country while
by hiding its flaws. Yeah.
If you're trying to protect your country and you know your country was snatched from other people, then that's a terrible position to be in. Like, I would rather openly say, yes, we took this country and defend my country, but to try to lie, like, you just make yourself look worse, because now it's like Hitler wouldn't have fucking lied.
Exactly. He would have stood on it.
Your shit,
He would have stood on it.
Get out or get in line. So the fact that you up there even being scary, because they know nowadays it's not the old slavery no more. Shit will turn up in their lives overnight. Like, overnight, everybody got possession of guns. Everybody got transportation. People got money, influence, networking. Like, now they really can't afford to make mistakes like they did in the past. But honestly, with all the AI that there is, like, you know, AI was even talked about over 1,000 years ago. I can only imagine how much AI the government uses that looks nothing like our AI.
Exactly.
That we would believe, oh, well, this don't look like ours, so it can't be AI. Then they be having AI, and it be a lot of shit that's not really happening that they're putting on social media talking about it's happening.
Yeah, but see, this is what I tell people to consider all the time. They send satellites way out in space. I'm talking thousands, millions of light years away. But they could still communicate with these satellites that's so unfathomably far away. If they had,
I don't think they're that far.
You don't think they're that far?
I don't either.
Like the sun and the moon. Like, you'd be ridiculous to look up at the moon or the sun and observe. I've stared at the stars, sun, and the moon for probably over 10,000 hours of my life. Look, like, that was something I was doing for hours every night. I was falling asleep under the stars and the moon, and it was all to sit there and just observe it. And in my observation, there's no fucking way that the sun's 93 million miles away. There's no way. And if it was, there would be no possible way of proof. And the size of the sun compared to what they say the Earth is, I don't believe that. I don't think the sun is that big. I think the Earth is infinite, because it's not a physical, like, actually a physical place. And I think the sun's only a fraction of the size of the sun, or the ground, just like the moon.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they're more so as a flat ground, and the sun and the moon are just doing this on the flat.
So you think it's a flat Earth?
The sun be way out there.
So you think it's a flat Earth?
So when people say flat, they mean like physically flat. Like it's not even a physical place. This is a spiritual place turned into a physical place. So this is not, this ain't a physical place. Like, so it would never be. That's why they allow you to get those two. They're like, do you think it's round? Do you think it's flat? They're both wrong. This ain't even a physical place. This place will expand as we expand. Literally, that's it. That's why I said it's an infinite place. That's why even the ground shows us that. The trees will grow over and over and forever. The fact that that can even be the case should show you that it really is infinite for real. And we can look at the sun and the moon, even like say when the sun shines down through the clouds. If the sun was as big as it is in correlation to the ground, when the sun shines through the clouds, the cone of it would not be a cone shaped light that the sun causes. That happens when the sun is at a certain point and light does this. If the sun was as big as they say it was, and this is what scientists say, if you look up scientific letters regarding the observation of the sun and the moon and all that, they don't say what mainstream says about the 93 million miles away. No, that's NASA. That's the government science side of things. But yeah, if you go actually out there and look at, like, they know the sun and the moon is right there. It's not shining in a straight. If the sun was this big, it would be shining a straight direct light at the ground through the clouds, and that's not happening. The sun can be over here in the sky, and clouds right here, and it's making a cone shape go this way.
And
because the sun's right here, straight through the clouds.
I will admit that I've seen the moon some nights, and it looks like it's within the globe. It doesn't look like it's outside the globe at all.
This is what I believe, because I've watched this. The stars, they're somehow inserted into the firmament. Whatever the firmament is, I don't even care what it is, but the stars are for sure rotating with the firmament. The ground, we already know, is rotating like this. This is how the ground rotates, literally. That's why it go through all the the natural disastering shifts it go through every few thousand years when we go through different ages, because the ground shifts. The sun and the moon sit right inside the globe like this. Just do that, and that's from pure observation from me. That's just that's the only thing that makes sense versus everybody's pictures of fake moon pictures and shit like that. Nobody knows how to fake the land moon. I don't even think you can land on the moon. It's not even a physical place.
But
it's
yeah,
a ball of gas.
and yeah, so even going back to the government, let's just talk about cell phones, for instance. Okay, the fact that you can use a device and talk to somebody on the other end of the world.
Yeah.
That's major technology. A lot of people take it for granted now, but it's major. So just think, if we have that, what do they have that we don't know about? You know what I'm saying?
Literally 100%. And like our ancestors had, like, the Egyptians, the whole they had an electrical grid. If you go back and research a lot of the stuff they were doing, they had something like the internet, but they used and tapped in more to the electrical grid. We tap into more of the mechanical side of things and use wires and shit to navigate through the electrical. They was pulling electricity and communication out of the ether, out of the actual field, not sending it through cords. But this is just a repeat of what they're already doing. That's where they got the ideas from.
Okay, definitely. That's facts. And so let's get into this. Let me ask, do you feel like melanated people in this country should celebrate the 4th of July?
I don't think anybody, white or which of course everybody has melanin, for one. Everybody has melanin receptors. So everybody has melanin. Everybody is that. But like predominantly black people, they for sure 100% shouldn't, because it was taken from them if they were in America. Now, if you was a black person that lived over in Europe or some shit, like, why not? Because it ain't got nothing to do with the black people that was on this land. But at this day and age, nobody should celebrate any of these holidays because they're all capitalist government holidays. None of them are even meant to bring people together. They're meant to bring people together and either riot or spend money. Like from
Fast.
or max spend.
Oh, yeah.
Do you feel like
I never celebrate man-made holidays no more. I celebrate my own holidays.
Okay. Do you feel like this country love you? Do you feel like this country love you as a citizen?
not as no citizen. Like, of course, this land loves us. We are connected to this land, so the land does. But the fictitious entity that's on our land, for sure, not.
Okay.
They would have never took our land if they did. If you go back and start research from, tell whatever you want to research it in and say, start me at the Doctrine of Discovery and walk me down how they took the land of America. It started at the Doctrine. It was a deliberate, malicious, religious attack that they did to take our land, for sure. So they don't care nothing about us. And not to say that the new people in this land don't. Like, there might be more new people that's been born that do care about us and care about reparations and things like that now. But like the original structure of the country or the fictitious entity that's controlling our land, definitely not. They can't love us. Like,
Do you think they?
true love would give us back. You would give us back our land off true love. If I took
That
some
part.
shit from you and I truly loved you, you would get your land back. Like, I hope there's a president that end up doing that. But I don't see there being another president after Trump. I ain't gonna lie.
You know, speaking of the land and everything being taken, you know, are you familiar with Carter G. Woodson?
Can't think of it on top of my mind. What is it? Let me know.
Okay, so Carter G. Woodson, he is a historian. He was a teacher, PhD scholar, and he taught education all over the world. But I've read a few of his books, and one very interesting book is the free Negro slave owners of the United States, and it has the years on the cover of the books. I can't recall what the years were, but I say this to say that before the slavery that they teach us in school, you actually had black people here that were free, and they had slaves as well.
Yeah.
Now,
the slavery definitely wasn't a new thing. It was more about the taking and brutality of the land, but they focused on just the slave part in schools and shit like that.
yeah,
For sure.
and so the question that I raised was, if there were blacks here who owned plantations, in the book it actually said some of them would compete with the whites as far as how many slaves they owned, you know. And this is not taught in schools, and a lot of people don't know this, but this book by Carter G. Woodson, it's a documented list of several southern states that had free Negro plantation owners, and it lists statistically, this is statistically from censuses, not a novel or some fictitious story. This is actual documented history. So my question is, okay, where did these free blacks come from? They weren't brought over here on the slave ship.
No, yeah, you're right. So, in my research, because I knew that there was black people that owned black people. So I know over in Europe and over in them other countries where there were still black kings, there were a lot of black kings that would exchange black slaves, but they didn't call them slaves. That's the thing. Like, the wording would change.
I think it might have been something more like prisoners of war.
Right, that's what it was. Either prisoners of war, or they would be people that exchanged their family's well-being to serve the king.
Yeah.
So they would serve the king for free, and the king would take care of their family. But one big thing, like when a lot of the slaves got brought over from the other countries, when there was that big mass bring over, that was right after. Can't remember exactly what country. There was a black slave owner king over there that exchanged a lot of his people that gave their basically service to the kings in exchange for taking care of their families. The kings exchanged them, which was not part of the deal or their contract, and that would, of course, that kind of riled up everything. Like, I didn't come serve you for you to take care of my family, and then one day separate me from my family in exchange for guns.
Yeah.
So then, whenever, of course, the white people and the people that was taking the lands they looked at them more as slaves, because we're doing this against your will, versus like
being compensated for it.
There, a lot of people agreed to do that. Like, yes, give my family a good place to live, and I will work for you. So that was the structure at one point. And same in America. Like, people would do the same thing in America. They would agree to work for people for free.
And here's the thing too. I think a lot of it is trying to hide the fact that Africans were exploring way before Europeans were.
Oh yeah.
Not only that, this is something else you have to consider. Blacks were exploring, or Africans were exploring way before Europeans were, But when they came to America, they were able to live in harmony with the people over here. They didn't try to take over the land. But for whatever reason, these other people get to exploring and they take over the damn land. And they still
Because
in control of
they
it.
were caught in war, literally. Whenever, if you go back to the Doctrine of Discovery, the Doctrine of Discovery, they ordered that because they were going back and forth warring in those other couple countries, and it became more of a like, we need more prisoners of war to be able to really grow our military is what they kind of look at it like. They look at this as like, this is a land where we have people that are ready to fight. They give us their money, they give us their this, their that. So, but that's really what it is. Like, at one point, you gotta think, white people haven't even been genome for that long, right? Or a phenotype. Because I don't know if y'all know the difference between a genome and a phenotype. A genome is the base genes. Like, we all have the human genes. The phenotype is the structure that DNA can present itself in. The white people have not had that for phenotype for that long. So, like, before that, it was just black people. Because even if it wasn't African, it was heavily melanated people that just roamed literally the countries. And if there ever was any white people, they did live in more migrated cold areas. Because that's how their phenotype literally is in response biologically to the environment. That's why you see the white people nowadays that are living in parts of the world that they know they're not supposed to be living in, like near the equator, is getting motherfucking sun blasted. But if they lived in their actual place where they supposed to
they'd be
live,
absolutely fine. Yeah.
they'd be fine. But people don't want to do that because they're like, now they get put in the type, like, they feel like they're being labeled. Like, they feel like, well, they're not allowed this part of the land. It's not us telling y'all that.
It's your body. Yeah.
We can't tell the sun what to do. You better listen. If I start getting burnt like that or seeing people in my city getting burnt like that, I'm getting up out of here.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm gonna move to a better climate region. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
But no, yeah, slavery has always been a tactic. That's just changing of names, changing of structure. But like, slavery is one of them things that will never end until all people get autonomy. Like, as soon as people can stop relying on this physical realm and at all for their love and entertainment and anything like that, that's when things will really change. Because, like, I do a lot of business shit, but I could care less about money. Literally, there's just nothing else I feel like I can do besides make money, because that's the most beneficial thing in the physical world to be able to get things done. But outside of that, if it came to entertainment, if I wanted to buy a Lamborghini, I'd go sit down for 10 minutes and imagine myself driving a Lamborghini from fucking Florida to California. Now, my desire of doing that then already passed. And when people can kind of get to that self, I would say they're okay with just doing things within their self, and they don't really have a big requirement or necessity of how they want to live their external world, then everything in the world, like, we could change the world overnight, literally. Overnight. Because the world also, the world responds to our mind. We already know that.
Definitely.
Everything we do in our mind is the spirit world. And anything we do in our mind is just going to reflect in the real world. So the physical world.
And so the last thing I want to touch on, as far as, because we're talking about Trump and the government and everything, I want to talk about people thinking more critically and thinking more for themselves, and stop thinking based on influences or what you may have grown up with. Like you said, people studying their own mind and, find out what you actually like, what you actually don't like, what you actually agree with, without the fear of what somebody else is going to think about it or think about you because you want to operate this way. I feel like if more people thought critically or thought for themselves without thinking about influence from other people or the fear of how they would look, the world would be a better place, because a person would think, you know what, it might not be a good idea to go out here and do this or go out there and do that, or it might be a good idea to sit here and do this or do that, instead of looking at a commercial and jumping, oh, they said this does XYZ, let me go get that. Or, let's.
I love talking about that. That's my favorite subject.
Can I jump in here for a minute?
Definitely.
I think that people need to practice self-development, because instead of waiting on I've said this before while we was talking to you, instead of waiting on somebody to come and fish you and save you on the outside, you can work on yourself on the inside. And once you fish yourself on the inside, then your world will get better on the outside, because what's on the inside, it vibrates from within, and people see that.
And see, that's that. Go ahead.
Go ahead. You go ahead. I want to hear what you guys say.
No, I was gonna say that, and that's the whole purpose of what they try to do. They try to keep you in a state where you rely on them for everything.
100%.
And any movement, especially with us, we could talk about the Black Panther Party. We could talk about Marcus Garvey. That were actually doing things in the community. You know, the Black Panther Party had a free breakfast program. They had health care for people who couldn't afford it. They were helping people pay rent, and all of this was done without the aid of the government. This that showed you back then what we were capable of doing,
Yeah.
and nobody
I
picked
see a
up the
lot of that
torch.
coming back. I've seen a couple of Black Panther Party kind of reuniting in a lot of these cities and a lot of these states.
And so I say, you know, you can play the political game and vote for who you vote for. I think local government is more relevant than federal government as far as you playing your part. But don't just stop with that. Be active in the community and organize some things that you can actually implement and that's tangible and that will bring tangible positive results in your community instead of waiting on a politician to do it. Because the difference is
That's definitely a great point. Like focusing on your local government versus federal. Like a lot of people don't even they look straight past local government and only focus on federal government. But I feel like it's because local government doesn't have a strong social media influence.
it doesn't.
I don't see shit about my local government on social media. I see them put signs and shit up on the roads and all that, but people don't even be looking outside of the signs no more. People are literally on their phone as they're driving. So literally, if you're not online, the government here got to be online for sure.
And here's the thing. I don't trust the government so much that I feel like why would they let you vote to pick who's going to be in power?
Exactly.
If you really want to be smart about it, you would make the people think that they have a say so, but still do your own thing.
Yeah.
And I see
100%.
things like, you know, in 2016, do you know Obama called Hillary and told her to give Trump the White House? There's an article that I have saved in my web browser to this day that talks about that, and people don't know this. So if it was just based on the people, why is he calling this woman telling her to give it to Trump? You know what I'm saying? And here's the thing.
All the game to them.
It's exactly.
It's high ranking in their fields. Just like how the Roman Church is set up, how you got the Pope and the Cardinals and all these people, and it's more of a bloodline thing. Literally, the government is a exact replica of the Roman Church setup. Like it's the exact replica.
Exactly. So
for that reason, I wouldn't be surprised if every single one of our presidents were related. 100%. They were either related or in the same clergies and clubs. They had no. They're not letting a random.
They're related. They're related.
Since you mentioned that,
100%.
I want to ask you: have you checked out a documentary that you may or may not be able to find on YouTube? It's called "The Rings of Power."
Man, I don't watch so many damn documentaries. I usually don't be looking at the names of documentaries.
I feel you. I can understand that. Yeah, but when you get a chance, look up the Rings of Power, and it talks about that bloodline that you just mentioned.
Okay, I'll definitely look it up because I knew that just through my research. I know that's how systems are created. They're structured that way on purpose. Even the states have the same Roman Catholic structure. Like, look, the structure of every legal, governmental anything is all trickling down from the same structure of the Roman Catholic Church. Not any other type of, because there's other churches that have different structures. It's specifically the Roman Catholic Church. 100%.
Definitely. So,
DC and I was having.
I do want to touch on something real quick. I know you
Go
talked
ahead.
about thinking. I wanted to go back to how you said if people would learn how to think better and people learn how to think for themselves. I think one of the most important things that you have to do to really start thinking for yourself is to recognize that there's no structure. Structure is something that comes in a part of every part of your life. Structure literally goes for business, for your relationships, but especially your mind. If you have no internal mental structure that you deliberately chose, like I remember at one point, like I tell my wife too, like say if your kid maybe annoys you, you know, every day you kind of get some type of snappy situation, say it out loud to yourself. Next time this happens, I'm going to give it 10 seconds, think about, did it really hurt my fucking feelings, then make my decision. But before I can even do that, I got to really agree to that structure of thinking. I could choose 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 8 seconds. When I speak, I have a certain structure, so I know how to give really good answers. When somebody asks me a question, I'll usually tell them, I'll say the what, I'll say the why, I'll say the how, and I'll give an example. that was a deliberately placed mental structure to
Mm-hmm.
help me teach people in good ways. And that's the same thing that goes with when somebody's feeding you information. When you get fed information, you should already have a mental structure on, okay, this is the information. What's the first thing that I need to check? What's the next thing I want to check? Like, you build filters.
Yeah.
That's really all beliefs are. So you put in place certain mental filters, and that way you know what they're set up for. And as you go through your life, they'll become habits. But before you can even get to that point of really thinking for that on your own, and really, because some people do it for a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and then they have times where it kind of gets thrown off. And then they do it for a little bit and throw. That comes from either lack of structure or not a good enough structure. When I tell you, I literally think so deeply, even when I'm speaking quick.
I understand because I do the same
I'm
thing.
thinking about what I'm saying now 3 seconds ago. Like, I already know what I'm going to say deliberately. Versus how most people will just up and say whatever the fuck they want to say.
Yeah.
But so that's for anybody watching. If you want to really have a better mentality, it starts with structure, not YouTube videos thinking like, well, how can I say better affirmations and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
If you have no structure inside your mind, Lily, look at your mind like a container. That's what I tell you. Look at your mind like a container. If you go in that container and all your pillars are knocked over and your roads are blocked and shit, that's what needs rebuilt. You need certain pathways built in your mind and certain structures and certain pillars and filters. And you need to be able to solidify that and practice that until it becomes a habit. Because once it does, I promise you, Lily, y'all, you could have no knowledge and good structure, just like business. You could have a bad business idea and great structure and reach
Be
the top.
successful.
You could be a lows that other people are not at because you have a certain structure versus people that might be good just naturally but have no structure. You could be good naturally or smart naturally with no structure, and mentally you be so susceptible to false information and things like that because you have no mental offensive or defensive frameworks that you live by.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So,
But I wanted to touch on that for sure.
Okay, hey.
Oh, that was good. I like that. That was good.
For sure.
did you have something you want to say?
No, I'm good.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, we're gonna close out. Tell everybody where they can find you at.
Yeah. So y'all can really find me anywhere. If y'all go on Google and just look up Ron Collins Self Mastery, Ron Collins How to Profit, it'll pop up my IG, my TikTok, my YouTube, literally everything that I'm on. I just made a Twitter too. If you go to House of Profit on Twitter, and that's profit with PROPHIT, not ET. But if y'all gonna find me on there, that's where y'all can find me. Y'all feel free to inbox me, ask me anything, let me know y'all came from this. I definitely answer whatever questions y'all got. But definitely make sure y'all follow the page. This is what podcasts should be like. This, especially doing it with your wife, like a couple podcast.
We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Nowadays, all we see is these fake, unauthentic, scripted podcasts, which are so terrible and just retarded. So especially how y'all are moving more towards self-development and betterment versus. I would not get stuck like conspiracies and all that shit. And I say conspiracies are just things that could either be true and just not. When you get stuck into that, because the algorithm will reward that early on.
Yeah.
But long term, the algorithm is going to reward because the people are going to reward authenticity. Like,
Facts.
they can get
Facts.
all the other shit everywhere else, and this is definitely an authentic podcast. So y'all can call me on here anytime. Ask me.
Hey, we appreciate that.
Hey, we always have a great conversation when you come on, and we
Yes.
definitely appreciate that. So,
Of course. I definitely can't wait to see the clips. I'm sure we're gonna have a lot of crazy
man,
clips
talking
about Trump orange ass.
yeah, so hey everybody, y'all can find Conversations One-on-One merchandise on conversationsononone.com. Check us out. Like, subscribe, check out Ron Collins on his platforms, and we just want to say thank you again, Mr. Collins, and we looking forward to next time.
Yes, sir. I'll be waiting to hear from y'all.